Hey everybody, it's Michael with Asymmetrical Preparedness. This video is about, are preppers crazy? I hear that on, Twitter mainly, but I'm sure it's out there in the world. Mainstream media. If you type in a Google search preppers, you get all these articles about how crazy we are and stuff like that. Even with the pandemic, all this stuff going on and stuff like that, a lot of people still think preppers are crazy. I think less people think preppers are crazy though. So why do people think preppers are crazy? Because nowadays we are outside the norm. We are outside the box. It is the norm, as far as I can tell, for people to go to the grocery store like every day, or maybe every other day, to order out food a lot, or go to restaurants a lot, or get microwave or oven meals. That, from my take on things, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of people out there don't even know how to cook anymore. A lot of people out there have lost almost all basic skills of what it means to be a human being. A lot of people do not know how to wash their clothes with a washing machine, or it may not even occur to them how to dry their clothes without a dryer, or how to wash dishes without a dishwasher, how to open cans without an electric can opener. They have no idea that you can just grab a pocket knife, shove it in the lid, and work it around and open a can. They'd probably starve sitting there looking at canned food, not even knowing how to open it. I don't know. I mean, the lack of wisdom and intelligence out there is amazing to me. My answer is no, preppers are not crazy. Preppers are doing what we call prepping today. Just used to be being a normal person back in my grandparents, great-grandparents' time. My grandma always had a root cellar in their basement that had lots of canned goods in it that she home canned from the garden and from the animals that they raised. And she had some dry goods there, she had water, stuff like that, lots of different things. They always had a little bit of extra everything around. Because, they lived through the Great Depression. They know what it's like. They've lived through times of famine. They also lived when it wasn't an on-demand society, when everything wasn't restocked perfectly on time. They also lived where there wasn't a grocery store in every street corner. Preppers are not crazy. Preppers are just people that have enough intelligence and wisdom and foresight to have a little extra, at least a little extra. Those people, I don't even think those people would fall into the prepper category. I would just think that's normal. I was a quote-unquote prepper before I even knew the term prepper. A while back it was called survivalist, now it's prepper, stuff like that. But no, preppers are people that want to feed their families, that want to take care of their families. Prepping, I've talked about in a lot of videos, is just, I say prep out of peace of mind, not out of fear. That's what prepping is. Prepping is just a peace of mind. Just like investing in the stock market, buying real estate, bonds, CDs, precious metals, any other investment avenue. It's the same thing. If you're not a prepper, what are you going to do if there's a lockdown that you have to sit at home for a couple weeks? Or what if you live alone and you get sick and you can't leave the house for a period of time? What if there's disruption in the food chain and there's food shortages? Go to the grocery store and there's empty shelves. What are you going to do? To me, it's not crazy to have a little extra food or a lot of extra food. to people out there that aren't preppers, what are you going to do? Sorry, I got this little thing on the end of my lip. Little piece of skin. It's bothering me. Sorry for the distraction. What are you going to do if there's no food in the grocery store? How are you going to feed your family? Oh, the government will take care of me. Yeah, no. That ain't happening. Because if it's widespread enough for all the grocery stores to be out of food, it's widespread enough for the government not to be able to take care of everybody. There are plans and processes in place for the government to take care of people in certain situations. We all know how well that happens. Also, we've seen Hurricane Katrina. We've seen other big natural disasters. How well does that work? Ask anybody who lived through that. Ask them how smoothly that went. How painless it was. Painful it was, in other words. What about people that lived through that were prepared? They were preppers. Even as preppers, you could still be in like a hurricane, an earthquake, a volcano, stuff like that. It could hit your house so quickly that you're not ready for it and you lose most of your preps. That is still a possibility. That is why as a prepper, I talk about a bug out location. Caches of food and supplies in different areas, whether it's around your area, your AO, your area of operations, your city, your town, your county, whatever it may be, your bug out location, your friend's house, in your group, your MAG. What is a MAG? What are these things that preppers talk about that's a MAG? A MAG is a mutual assistance group. It's just a group of people, basically friends, that have this agreement that they'll help take care of each other. That in a bad situation, they have plans in place to gather together, to take care of each other, to provide for the common defense and food of each other and each other's needs. It's a great concept. It's what society just used to do. That's just what towns used to do. If something happened, all the townspeople gathered together, they took stock of what they had, they helped each other out. Those with more helped those with less. Those with less in one category helped out via other means. It's a community thing. We've lost community nowadays. You still see it in some natural disasters and stuff like that, yes. Depending on the area, what level you see it. But preppers are not crazy. Preppers are people that realize that everything doesn't always go smoothly. Everything isn't always perfect. There's not always food in the stores. There's not always restaurants open, as we've seen lately, to go to. Preppers also realize that, hey, it may be nice for me to be able to know how to cook my own food, how to bake my own bread. These are all things that just used to be common sense. Nowadays, it's not really common sense, it's just sense, because it's not all that common anymore. A lot of people have lost basic skills. That's what preppers do. We study and learn basic skills. We prepare ourselves, we train ourselves in how to deal with adverse situations. Because anybody that just goes through life thinking everything's going to be peachy keen happy all the time are sorely mistaken. It is not always going to be happy. Our stock market has crashed before. We've had intermittent food shortages. We've had the Great Depression. We've had periods of challenging events in our lifetimes and in lifetimes past. Look at World War II, when we had the ramp up production. Everybody, donated, everything they could, old, metal stuff that they couldn't use anymore, pots, pans, whatever it might be, food to the cause. They bought war bonds. They did all this stuff. What's what preppers do? Our food storage and the stuff we set aside is basically like my investments, or financial investments for the future. It's my investment for the future when a future event happens, because it will happen, whether it's a personal SHTF, stuff hits the fan, basically meaning an event that happens, it's bad. It could be a natural disaster, It could be a foreign invasion. It could be a financial collapse. It could be a food shortage. It could be a pandemic. It could be lots of different things. It could be chaos in your areas like we've seen lately. So I know a lot of you, this is just reiteration, but bear with me. It's good to go over the basics. It's good to go over them from time to time. Remind ourselves of why we do this and what we do. And think, am I doing all these things? Am I really doing the best I can? Am I prioritizing things properly? You know, we aren't crazy people. We aren't just wackos out here on the fringe. Prepping is a lot more mainstream nowadays, especially with what's been going on lately with COVID and all the other stuff, all the other unrest and everything. A lot more people have woken up to the idea that it's good to have a little extra food in your house. I mean, duh. That should just be common sense. Oh, also, even the people that thought ahead and had a little extra food, but what about food for your animals, your pets? How do you feed them? Do you have stuff for them? A lot of people, their pets are part of their family. You know, my dogs are part of my family. I mean, I'm not saying they're on the level of my kids, but they're pretty high up there, pretty important to me. I don't want my dogs to starve. So we got to take care of things. It's all about doing the things. It's all about being a responsible adult. That's what it comes down to. It's responsibility. Responsibility to yourself, to feed yourself, to take care of yourself, and not rely on the government. If you're relying on the government for anything, barring the certain situations that every once in a while happens in life, where you need a little bit of help every once in a while from the government, okay, those programs exist for a reason, to help people up, but not to rely on them. They're a safety net, not a way of life. Because if anybody's taking care of you, if anybody's doing anything for you, providing anything for you, you answer to them. You are no longer free, in other words. You answer to somebody else. We want to be free. We want to take care of ourselves. We want to be reliant on ourselves, on our family, and our group, our mag, our team, our tribe. Different terms we use for those groups of people that we care about. I want to be able to feed my kids and my wife. I don't want to have to worry about that. Like when this COVID thing started. Lockdown for 2 weeks. Okay, cool. And I just drove home from work and it ended up being a month. We did go to the store twice out. I just grabbed a couple little things while I was grabbing medication for my wife that we had to have, that she had to have. So we could have just sat there for the whole month, obviously, and not gone anywhere very easily. I can go a lot longer than that. But please, I encourage you guys to at least have a couple weeks, if not a month of food. More would be better. The more food you have, the better. The less reliant you are on others. Whoever controls the food and water controls the people. Well, if you control your own food and water and are able to feed yourselves and exist, then you have freedom. That's what it's all about. Freedom and responsibility. It's our responsibility to take care of ourselves. It's not the government's job or responsibility to take care of us. The government's job is to protect us from foreign enemies and to provide a structure and a groundwork for our nation. It's not supposed to have its hands in all of our business. I'm a small government person. I want the government to get their hands out of as much as possible. I don't want them involved in my life any more than absolutely necessary. The more I prepare, the more I'm able to be self-reliant, the less I'm under the thumb of anyone. Part of prepping is also debt. If you're debt-free, you're not a slave to anybody. You're not under anybody's thumb as far as that. So being debt-free is a very, very good thing. Dave Ramsey has a lot of good stuff on that, a lot of good thoughts. There are other ways that maybe if you're a higher end investor, you can make money faster. But his principles and tenets, teaching you how to become debt free and stuff like that, are very awesome. If you haven't heard about Dave Ramsey, watch his videos, get his books, do his program, stuff like that. I guess that's really all I have to say. I encourage everybody to prep a little every day. And prep, what is prepping? A little every day. Prepping could be working on your fitness. Fitness is key. We have to be fit. In a bad situation, in an event, SHTF, WROL, those type things, everything is going to be more physical. We're going to have more physical ability is going to be required of us than is today. We're not going to be able to be sedentary. We're going to have to be out there doing the things, growing the food, providing security, etc. And prep at a peace of mind, not out of fear. Like I said, this is just like investing for your future. It's investing for your life and your family's life. So take it seriously, make it a priority. I love you guys, and blessings to you and yours.